Good evening, West Orange, and welcome to the special Township Council meeting for July 9th. We are coming to you live from council chambers. You are welcome to join us at 66 Main Street. There will be no public comment on Zoom, but public comment will be permitted in council chambers. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Fagan. Welcome everyone to this special council meeting that is focused solely on what to do for the council to do about the vacancy created by Councilwoman Deborah Michaels' resignation. But first, Madam Clerk.
Yes. This is to inform the general public that this meeting is being held in compliance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The notice for this meeting was emailed to the Star Ledger and the West Orange Chronicle on July 2nd, 2025. Councilwoman Castellino?
Present.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Here.
Councilwoman Scarpa? Okay. Council President Krakowiak?
Present.
Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The council is now in their public meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Again, welcome to everybody for this special council meeting to decide what to do with the vacancy created by Councilwoman Deborah Michaels' resignation at the June 12th special council meeting. State law gives the governing body 30 days to decide. Otherwise, the vacancy continues until the next appropriate election. Several factors have slowed this process, but we are finally here. Council needs to decide whether to fill the vacancy between now and the November 2025 special election, when voters will fill the unexpired term of about a year. They will vote again in the November 2026 general election for someone to fill the full 4-year term. These two elections happen no matter what the council decides tonight. If you're interested in running in the November 2025 special election, please contact the township clerk, preferably at clerk@westorange.org, or to call the office number at 973-325-4155 as soon as possible. State law allows the remaining members of the governing body to keep the vacancy until the election. This allows voters to make this decision and eliminates the potential for a choice to fill the vacancy based in part on political factors that provide the opportunity for the chosen replacement to gain an advantage over competitors by virtue of holding this high-profile position. This happened to me in 2010 when Mayor Parisi vacated his council position and the council appointed his replacement, someone who had not previously run for council or participated much, if at all, in township governance affairs. I won that subsequent election against the replacement and one other candidate, starting a 10-year run on the council. State law also allows the remaining council members to fill the vacancy until the next election by appointing a replacement by a majority vote, in our case, 3 votes. The law also allows, in the event of a tie vote for the replacement, in our case, that would be a 2-2, that tonight would fail. It's very important that you understand this. If it's a 2-2 tie tonight on whether to fill the vacancy, the motion fails and the vacancy holds until the November 2025 special election. Okay? On the issue of breaking such a tie, I want to clarify to everyone that under our form of government, this is basically the only role the mayor has in any council affairs. The mayor cannot vote in any other motion before the council except to break a tie in a council vacancy. In all other cases, a tie vote causes the motion to fail. At the March 21st, 2023 council meeting, the presiding assistant town attorney allowed the mayor to cast a vote on a non-vacancy motion, actually 3 different motions, 3 different resolutions, that was counter to state law. That may be some of the source of this misunderstanding. Just to close the loop on that, at the next council meeting, those 3 resolutions that were improperly approved, they were rescinded. I also want to clarify, under our form of government, the mayor can veto any ordinance passed by the council. The mayor cannot veto resolutions. The council can then attempt to override that ordinance veto with a vote representing a supermajority of the council members, in our case, 4 votes. You may recall that the council earlier this year was unable to override the mayor's veto, of an ordinance to transition to electric leaf blowers. Further, I requested a legal opinion on the impact of a vacancy on the requirement for a supermajority vote. The guidance is that the supermajority vote requirement, as well as the majority quorum standard, continues. So during a vacancy, the council would still need 4 votes to override a mayor veto or to approve a bond ordinance. We would also still require 3 council members for a quorum to hold a meeting and 3 votes to approve any resolution or regular ordinance. Finally, I want to thank everyone who has contacted council members with their recommendations on what the council should do and who it should appoint. I also thank the 16 residents who have stepped forward into the public eye as candidates for this vacancy. My review of the submitted resumes and cover letters left me most impressed. We have many talented, accomplished, capable, and engaged residents that I'm confident could make substantive contributions to our governments and making our town an even better place to live. Regardless of what the council decides here, I hope each of our candidates will consider becoming more involved in our governance. And I'm happy to speak to any of you. At this point, we need to move to public comment. So just some more words, I'm sorry, about public comment. I want to confirm that we are all on the same page on how public comment is regulated as per our ordinance. We recently returned to the practice of public speakers speaking from the podium next to the dais. It should improve the audience's ability to hear and understand the speaker and see the speaker's face, at least partially. We're no longer lining up in the aisle as in recent meetings. You have to raise your hand and first be recognized by the chair, then directed to come from your location on the benches. If you want and to save time between speakers, you can move closer to the front of the benches. Once you're recognized by the chair, you can speak for up to 5 minutes, but please be concise to speed up the process, and you don't have to fill the whole 5 minutes. Please, everyone, speak directly into the microphone and as loudly as you feel comfortable doing so that everyone can hear, particularly over the air conditioning. After everyone has commented, we on the dais may respond. Council has received legal guidance that we should not respond to any public comments that are not about the proposed resolution. I will note when questions are posed and determine if anyone here can answer them now or later. Just here's what our ordinance says. Special meetings require that no business be transacted other than that specified in the agenda. It does not bar public comment on other topics. So if you want to talk about something different from what's on the agenda, that's okay. Our time limits section requires conduct by public comment speakers who, quote, shall at no time engage in any personally offensive or abusive remarks. The chair shall call any speaker to order who violates any provision of this rule. It guides conduct of the public. Quote, any person who shall disturb the peace of the township council, make offensive or abusive remarks, or conduct himself or herself in a boisterous manner while addressing the council shall be forthwith barred by the presiding officer from further audience before the council, except that if the speaker shall submit to proper order under these rules, permission for him to or her to continue may be granted by majority vote of the council. I'm a big First Amendment fan and a Constitution guy, so I want everyone to have a chance to seek redress from their government. I'm also a big fan of civility, and I think a lack of civility and manners contributes to our political conflict and inability to reach a middle ground. Council is a place to discuss our differences and often to find compromise to make West Orange an even better place to live. So I urge all of us to treat everyone as they would like to be treated. You can make your point without cursing or insulting anyone, and I will enforce the ordinance. Without any more further ado, if anyone would like to speak at public comment now, please raise your hand, be recognized. Councilman, is there anybody else who would like to speak? You can be next, Mr. Cohen. Is there anybody else? Dr. Kalfani? Great, in that order. And then Mr. DeBovie. So we got 4. Councilman.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, Council administration, all of you here in person and joining virtually. I'm here to encourage the council to
Excuse me, your name and address.
West Orange resident. I'm here to encourage the council to fill the vacancy. I understand that there is some consideration for not filling the vacancy. I want to just highlight one example of this in the past, and you touched on it, Mr. Kukoviac. Many years ago, there was a vacancy created, I think, by Patty Spango. I'm not exactly sure who was the council person that was didn't finish their term. And that appointment was given to Leonardo Webster Sr. Many in the community supported him to be appointed to that seat. I'm sorry, is that?
Just give it to me.
Oh, that was to you? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, when Joe.
Please, everybody,
Yeah,
Councilman-
Leonardo was appointed.
it's the floor for the.
This was 2015. I think this goes all the way back a little further, but he ran for that seat in the fall and lost. And I thought he lost to you, Joe, but I could be wrong. But either way, he was appointed to the seat and served for some short period of time. I think the vacancy was created just before the June primary. Again, it's so long ago, I'm not sure. But the point I'm making is it was important for the council to fill that seat even on a temporary basis back then, because the work of the council must go on. The people have elected representatives to represent them, which you are. There are 4 duly elected representatives of this community who are empowered to make this decision, and I encourage you to do so. The township deserves to have 5 council members weighing in. 5 is not enough as it is. We have a town of 50,000 residents, we have no wards, and we have 5 at-large council members. Other towns similarly sized have more council members than we do. They have individuals that are representing specific parts of town, and we don't. And that leaves a gap in the voice that needs to be heard both here and throughout town when you don't have representation that covers the entire town that way. So all of you are at-large council members, and to remove 1 and only have 4, I think inhibits the ability of the council to do its work. As you mentioned, Mr. Council President, a 2-2 tie would fail. I expect that you will have many 2-2 ties. And there's an important work that needs to be done with regard to the capital budget, the operating budget, Main Street development, and many other things that I think the township deserves to have handled properly by 5 council members, which is what we've decided our form of government should be. This would be unprecedented, and it is not impossible for the 4 of you to agree on 1 person when you have, in your own words, Mr. Council President, 16 outstanding, accomplished candidates who are seeking that office. So I do encourage you to all of you, all 4 of you, to fill the seat. I am not seeking the seat. This is not a personal thing. Choose the best person for that role, someone who represents the community well and possibly fills some skill gaps or represents a voice that's not currently heard, so that the township business can continue to be done in an orderly fashion. Thank you.
Good evening, Richard Cohen, Eagle Ridge Way. Good evening, Council President, members of the council, and members of the public. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I rise tonight to urge this council to fill the current vacancy, not for political advantage, but for the sake of responsible representative government. Some have said, let the voters decide in November, and they will. But in the meantime, West Orange is left with a shorthanded council during a period when important decisions are being made. That is not neutrality. It is a silent forfeiture of your full authority and our full representation. I know some of you, including Councilwoman Castellino, have voiced concern about making an appointment could create an unfair advantage in the upcoming election. Councilwoman, I want to address your concern respectfully and directly because I believe it stems from a genuine desire to do the right thing. In 2015, after the then council appointed you and Mayor Parisi swore you into office, you stated, "I can't thank the council enough for selecting me." You pointed out that in your own case, when you were appointed in 2015 to fill Councilwoman Spango's seat, the appointment happened in September, and the next election was over a year away, not just 5 months as it is now. I understand that distinction, But respectfully, the length of the interim period does not change the principle involved. In both cases, the council faced a vacancy and a choice to act or not to act. In both cases, the voters eventually have the final say. And in both cases, the integrity and functionality of this legislative body were at stake. Your own appointment ensured that West Orange had a full council, one that could vote, deliberate, and provide oversight until the next election. That was good governance then, and it remains good governance now. It is also worth pointing out that even a 5-month vacancy has consequences. That's 5 months of missed input, unrepresented constituents, and weakened legislative power. We don't delay other essential functions just because an election is on the horizon, and we shouldn't delay this either. Appointments are not endorsements. They're not coronations. They are interim solutions to prevent dysfunction, and the person selected will have to earn their legitimacy at the ballot box, just like you did, Councilwoman. And if there's concern about optics, then this council can take steps to ensure fairness, interview candidates publicly, vote transparently, and emphasize the temporary nature of the appointment. But not acting, that's not fairness, that's giving up the power this council was elected to exercise. So I ask each of you, is it really in the best interest of West Orange to leave the seat vacant for 5 months during budget season, during development debates, during oversight responsibilities? Or is it better to fill the seat responsibly and let the voters weigh in come November? You are elected to serve, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. And right now, your service is needed to ensure continuity, accountability, and full representation. Let the voters decide in November, but tonight, let the council lead. Before I close, I've been asked to read a statement from Councilwoman Asmeret Gebremichael, who recently resigned from this council. She has authorized me to share the following on her behalf. I want to take a moment to speak about the vacancy on this council and the responsibility that lies before us. As we all know, with the recent resignation, we now have an open seat, and the law gives this council until July 12th to fill that vacancy. That deadline isn't just a date on a calendar. It reflects our obligation to ensure the people of West Orange have full representation. Our residents elected a 5-member governing board, and for the next several months, they deserve to have every one of those seats filled. Some have suggested we should simply leave the seat vacant until the special election in November. But that would mean depriving nearly 50,000 residents of their full voice in this government for months. It would mean conducting town business, making decisions on budgets, infrastructure, development, and public safety with only 4 voices at the table. That's not good governance, and it's certainly not what the people of West Orange deserve. This isn't about politics, it's about principle. As elected officials, we don't get to pick and choose when we do our jobs. The law is clear, the timeline is clear, and our responsibility is clear. Filling this vacancy is not optional, it is our civic duty. I urge my colleagues to work together to appoint someone to serve in this seat until the November election. Let's respect the process, respect the residents, and ensure this council operates with the full representation our community expects and deserves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cohn, and thank you, Councilwoman Gebremichael.
Council President, if I may interrupt, pardon the interruption. I just want the record to reflect that Councilwoman Scarpa, I believe, is joining on her phone. Councilwoman Scarpa, can you hear us? You're muted. I believe that's your phone number. Could you please indicate that it's you? I'm sorry for the interruption. I think you should continue with public comment.
So just to clarify, Mr. Fagan, thanks for your efforts. Is Councilwoman Scarpa on the call?
Councilwoman Rudin is, and it's a phone number that I believe is Councilwoman Scarpa, but she is muted. Councilwoman Scarpa, if you can hear us, please unmute yourself. I'll try to establish contact with her during the next public
Okay.
comment, Council President.
But
Sorry for the interruption.
and in the interim, we do have a quorum, so we're able to move forward.
Sorry.
Akil Kafani, 7 Glen Place. Good evening, colleagues and friends. I'm glad to be here today and to first and foremost to urge you all to continue the process when you and I, Councilwoman, were in consideration for it in 2015, and you were the one who successfully received the seat. I think that you've done well, and so then I think that the folks who are listed have the possibility of doing well and doing the work of the council. And I think that the work of the council has to continue, and we expect that that you all will do the right thing. And I think the right thing is to continue the legacy that's already been established by the Township of West Orange, as Councilman Bill Rutherford mentioned, as well as I'm talking about right now, that this is not the first time that this type of consideration is there to fill an empty seat. And I think that we owe the town and the people the type of representation that doing so is, because we don't, as Council President already stated, there's no one to break a tie. And so since there's not, then we do a disservice to the people on issues where there is two people on each side. And that doesn't have to be the situation if we fill the seat. And, you know, yes, I'm putting my name forward for the seat, but my point in general is that we owe the people, the 50,000 plus people in West Orange, a fair representation and not to have things stagnated. I think the possibility of things stagnating exists with a 4-4 representation on the board. And so if that happens, then what happens to the things that are important to the people in the town? What happens is that we end up delaying things. We end up putting things, or hopefully if there were severe things, that we would all come together, or you all would come together and address them. However, on things that may have town members concerned and not have representation, because it really comes to, if there's a 2-2 tie, there really comes to there's no representation. It's as if the movement of the people stops. And so if we allow that, then I think we're not doing the thing that people have been elected to do. And that's what I want you us to think about here, is that if we're not going to do the things, the board is not, council is not going to do the things that we represent them for, then that's unfortunate. And that we here today are trying to hold you accountable to the things that we elected you for. And by filling the board, I think that we do a service to both the community and to the individuals, because we have to think about the individual people. What are the things that are going to happen? And we know a lot of things are going on nationally. What are the things that the council is going to be addressing and may not be able to address well with the changes that are going on in our country right now? And if we can't act and address those things, then shame on us. And I think that doesn't need to be that, right? We don't need to look at it. We don't need to have that be the reality of how we proceed and think about it, because we have the power right now. You all have the power to act on your authority and fill the seat. And I just implore that you do so. And may the best person be selected. And I think that you know, I'm confident that you all will do the right thing, and I'm hoping that right thing is to fill the seat. Thank you very much.
And that's the way, the loudness to speak when you come to the microphone. That was excellent. Mr. DeBovie, is there anybody else who'd like to speak? Please raise their hand. After Mr. DeBovie, please.
Okay, good evening, members of council. First, I want to thank
Your name and address for the record.
Todd DeBovie, Burnett Terrace. Yeah. Thank you. I'd like to thank Councilwoman Geber Michael for her service to West Orange and wish her well in her future endeavors. This council has been created as a 5-person council. Township residents benefit from this configuration as it ensures that when all members are voting, there will not be tie votes. In addition, with all 5 seats filled, it ensures proper representation of the residents in town. Failing to fill the 5th seat only risks that members of the township could feel underrepresented. And with taxes going through the roof and negatively impacting home values in West Orange, This town cannot afford to leave residents underrepresented. Therefore, West Orange taxpayers, residents, and voters deserve to have a fully staffed council to ensure that proper representation. And I feel it's the obligation of the remaining council members to prioritize filling Councilwoman Geber Michael's seat, since you have sufficient time to do so. Failing to do so is not only unfair to West Orange residents, but can also be considered a dereliction of duty by the remaining council members. It was suggested that it's only 2 months and nothing will happen during those 2 months. Maybe it's 5 months. I don't think the time frame matters. No one can say nothing will happen during those 2 months of an understaffed council. And last time I checked, no one had a crystal ball. So suggesting it's only for 2 months as a justification for inaction disregards the inability to predict the future and disregards the interests of taxpayers, residents, and voters, and could ultimately render the council ineffective in carrying out the governance of the township. Therefore, it's not just desirable to fill the vacant seat, but it is this council's obligation to fill the seat. I thank each of you for your service that you've provided and continue to provide West Orange, and ask that each of you do the right thing and appoint a replacement. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak after Ms. Bennett? Please raise your hand.
I think Rachel Klein is in the hallway and may want to speak as well. I'll confirm that.
Yes, I thought I heard one of her children's voices. I thought perhaps it was just the air conditioning. Please, Ms. Bennett.
Good evening, Michaela Bennett, Old Indian Road. I'm not going to restate any of the reasons why you should effort to replace Councilwoman Geber Michael's vacated seat. But I will talk a little bit about history because I was also in the room when Councilwoman Castellino was appointed and under similar circumstances. I was also considered, like Dr. Kalfani and Councilwoman Castellino, for that vacancy. And I was very grateful to hear one of the last budget workshops, Councilwoman Castellino express how unfair it was to all the other candidates when the council was sure of who they were going to put in that seat. I appreciated that because it was a waste of my time. And I heard you very clearly when you said that, and I appreciate that you acknowledged that. And every other candidate's time and effort and interest. And we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't waste people's time. We shouldn't waste people's money. We should view our obligations and responsibilities to the people and what the people want as paramount. And the people wanted 5 people in these seats. They wanted them full. And there's a reason for that. With 4, you have ties more often than you would think. And right now, your backs are up against the wall with a budget and the potential for fines for each of you to be paying personally if you can't agree and approve page by page a budget that's coming before you. 5 people would fix that. There are real consequences to deferring. There are real consequences to not identifying somebody that you could all, maybe you all don't align with that individual as number 1, but you can all agree that certain individuals could sit in the seat and do the business of the people on behalf of West Orange. You should absolutely decide amongst yourselves to fill that seat. And then you should do so in a way that gets right back to the business that's in front of you. This budget is late. It's messy. You have decisions to make about it. As recently as last night, the administration made it very clear that they're going to leave an awful lot for you to decide and cut. You will not have an easy time of it with only 4 people. I would encourage you to vote in favor of filling the seat, and I would encourage you to do so on behalf of the people, whether it's your personal opinion that you should or not, whether you actually want to or not. You were elected to make decisions and to act in times that are difficult. And that's what leadership is, and that's what you asked people to vote for. And now you're in a position and you should make sure that you fill the seat. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak at public comment? Please raise your hand.
Council President, I'm told Rachel Klein left the building.
Oh, she is. Okay. Thank you. I also had a request from a resident. The third person of our Citizens Budget Advisory Board, two of whom have already spoken tonight, and the third one asked me to read his email as public comment because he was not able to make it here tonight. So I'm just going to read it, and then perhaps I'll also read you my response to him. So you should time me. Oh. Please. It is unfortunate that Councilperson Geber Michael.
Who is?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's Phil Litwinoff. Does anybody know what street he lives on? I know where he lives, but
I'll figure it out.
okay, yes. You have the record. It is unfortunate that Councilperson Geber Michael's health situation resulted in her resignation from the Township Council. I know we all wish her a speedy recovery. The Township, however, must continue to function. In this regard, her seat needs to be filled and not left open until the next election. When the West Orange residents went to the polls last November, we chose candidates to maintain a 5-person Township Council. The residents voted their positions as to the makeup of the 5-person council, so our voices could be heard. If you, the remaining council members, choose to ignore the open position, you will have done a disservice to the residents of West Orange. Leaving the position open can very easily make the council ineffective. Any matter that results in a tie will make your good work meaningless, since it will neither pass nor be defeated. Nothing positive can come from that. New Jersey's municipal vacancy law, he then gives the citation, specifies the obligations of the remaining members when a vacancy occurs. Additionally, West Orange has previously set procedures for what should happen when a vacancy occurs. Michelle Castellino was appointed to the council on September 24th, 2015. Based on what she has contributed in this role, I submit that it was a wise decision. I urge you to act responsibly and fill this open seat to enable the Township Council to properly carry out its obligations to the citizens of West Orange. We deserve to have a 5-person Township Council to represent us. I respectfully request that my comments be read into the public comment portion of tonight's reading. Thank you, Phil Litwinoff, CPA. He's also a member of the Citizens Budget Advisory Board. So I wanted to be sure that his voice was heard tonight. I just want to give you my reading of my response. Mr. Litwinoff, thanks for your input and your service to the township. A tie vote will almost always be treated, as it has been, as a failure of the motion. That in itself will not, in my view, cause a breakdown in the effectiveness of the council. The mayor has 2 authorities when it comes to council matters under our form of government. First, she can vote to break a tie and filling a council vacancy. I believe the mayor should have no role in that decision, so I will work to avoid that situation. Second, the mayor can veto any ordinance that is passed, and the council can attempt to override that veto, something it failed to do earlier this year with the 5-member council. The mayor has no role in passage of resolutions. I'm determined that if a majority of the council cannot agree on a replacement for the vacancy for the next 4 months until the special election, that we continue to strive to be the most effective we can be, as the vote margins for quorums, supermajority, and the vast number of legislative majority votes remain the same and within reach if the remaining council members so choose. You may recall that 15 years ago, the council chose to replace the vacancy from newly elected Mayor Parisi with someone who had never run for council and had little to no record of township civic participation. I defeated him and another candidate in the subsequent election after many months of the replacement voting in lockstep with the mayor, and me speaking at public comment at many of those meetings disagreeing with him. The voters chose wisely in this situation. I hope you'll agree. I'll be honored to read your comments into the record tonight. So one last time, does anybody want, I see somebody with a hand raised. Please come forward. Is there anybody else who wants to speak tonight? Please raise your hand. Please start with your name and address.
Hi, I'm Joseph Naliath. I live on Ridgeview Avenue, the Gregory neighborhood. First, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for taking the time to make this special meeting. I know it's not necessarily ideal to come out on a Wednesday night. Thanks to everybody who came out and shared a lot of sentiments that I completely agree with. Really, a lot of the great points for why somebody should be appointed to this seat have already been expressed, but I wanted to add lastly that in my experience living in West Orange, I don't think I've seen a budget season with this much public concern that's been expressed outwardly. A lot of people that I know that have never paid much attention to municipal affairs before have been speaking out. And I think it's especially important that during this budget season, that final seat is filled so that community members will have the ability to reach out to another person on the council, and that it becomes more of a known face that they can really talk to and engage with. And maybe that can help rebuild some of the trust that might be lost by some people in the current state of the community. But thanks again for coming out on Wednesday, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. If there's no one else, if anybody else would like to speak in public comment, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to close public comment right now at, I know your clock was different. 7:12. So at this point in the meeting, the council can now respond to any of the comments that were made during public comment. I appreciate everybody's patience. Mr. Fagan, did Councilwoman Scarpa ever reestablish?
I'm sorry to say, Council President, no, she is not online, and I do not know her whereabouts, speaking from a cyber standpoint.
Okay, most unfortunate.
Can we pause the meeting till we get her connected?
Well, we can certainly try. I think she's been trying for,
Well, she could call into one of our phones and we could put her on the speaker. Because I'm not gonna move forward without Councilwoman on the call.
so I can see everybody picking up with the phone. Is someone trying to reach Councilwoman Scarpa now? I beg your pardon?
Went right to voicemail.
Oh,
I move to recess until we have her connected.
we have 3 votes. Councilwoman Rudin,
Councilwoman Rudin, please unmute yourself.
Yes.
Councilwoman
How-
Rudin, Councilwoman Castellino wants to recess until we can hopefully get Councilwoman Scarpa back on the line. Is that okay with you? I don't think we need a formal motion. I'm in favor of it, but wanted to hear from you.
Well, if it takes more than a few minutes, I mean, we've been waiting for her for already 45 minutes. So I would give it a time, a break, a time certain deadline, and then move on. So
Okay, how
waiting
about,
15 more minutes, that's fine. But beyond that, I would say we need to resume.
yeah, I was going to say it's 7:16 now. Let's recess until 7:30. We'll try to begin promptly at 7:30. We should be able to.
I think
Fix
maybe
that.
he has her on the phone, we'll see.
So
Yeah.
why did he walk out of the room? That would have satisfied the issue.
All right, let's give it a few minutes.
Okay, so we'll recess until 7:30.
Thank you. I think it's important.
Oh, it is.
I
No
know.
question, it's important.
She could just go on the phone.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? It's Councilwoman Scarpa.
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Don't do anything. We're on break.
Okay, great.
Oh, good, good. All right, good.
Council President, we
Yeah,
are
I heard all
unmuted.
of you. What?
Okay, we had previously said we were going to restart the meeting at 7:30. We still have a few minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
Who do we need? That Pete?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just concerned, we said we were going to reconvene at 7:30. And if anybody has stepped away, I don't want to be the cause of them not being able to hear this in real time.
That's okay, we can wait. I don't have a problem with that.
I gotta get it to share.
Council President, may I take the opportunity to make a few announcements?
Please.
Okay, I'm going to zoom in on the screen for the people in the audience. We have the upcoming season at OzPac. It begins July 11th, 19th. Of course, this information is on the West Orange website. Also, as a friendly reminder, we've been getting a lot of complaints about individuals that don't pick up after your pet. It's not only courteous, but it's also the law. As a reminder, this information is on our website, Pets from the West Orange Animal Welfare League. This information is updated, and if you're interested in adopting a pet, you can consider this option. Also, remember that a tree removal permit is required in West Orange. The information can be found on our website, westorange.org, and you would put Forestry Division into the inquiry, and that will bring up all the information. Also, there's useful information and tips for disease and bug infestation. Know the signs and you can stop the spread. This information is available on the website. And even though Juneteenth has passed, there's an art exhibit going on at the West Orange Arts Council Center through July 12th, which is fast approaching. So you can check them out on the website, woarts.org, and find out their hours to see this exhibit. And Mayor McCartney's open office hours are July 10th. That's tomorrow, 6 to 8 p.m. No appointment is necessary, and that's right here in council chambers. And it's also bear sightings have been seen in and around West Orange, none in recent days, but it would be advisable to go to westorange.org and check out the some useful information in the event that you do encounter a bear. And also, this is the outdoor season. You're out and about hiking in the woods. It's important to know tick safety and some quick tips. Information can be found at westorange.org on some of the warning signs to protect, check, remove, and certainly what to watch for. I believe that is the end of my announcements. Yes, we'll be resuming the council meeting shortly. And just as a matter of fact, next time you're in council chambers here, a bit of information. There are 4 president portraits hanging in council chambers here. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but you can check them out and see who the 4 presidents are. Of course, our inventor, Thomas Edison, is here. There's James Degnan. His portrait is hanging here. He is the namesake of Degnan House here in West Orange. And we have Samuel Rawlinson. And of course, Frank O'Connor. Frank O'Connor is the namesake of O'Connor Park here in West Orange. That park opened in 1974. And Frank O'Connor was a longtime commissioner here in West Orange, I believe a longtime tax collector, and he was a plumber by trade. So that concludes me trying to pass some time here. but we will resume the meeting in 5 minutes at 7:30 as indicated by Council President. Thank you, everyone, for your indulgence.
Anything happen while I was gone? Oh, okay.
I ate a piece of candy. There's a lot of hot air.
I would think there'd been less with me out of the room.
Yeah, it's shouldn't be going for the.
They hear me now. They hear me now. Yeah, I couldn't answer your call. I was trying to get on the meeting.
Mr. Litwinoff's email has his address at the bottom. I just saw it, so. Oh.
I don't eat between meals, thank you.
I have Mr. Litwinoff's.
Not too good.
address. It was in his email. I just didn't.
It's all right, it's all right.
Pardon?
It's
all
all
right.
right. He sent it to, yeah. No, be good. All right.
Mr. Litwinoff is Linden Avenue. Madam Clerk,
Yes, I'm sorry.
his address is Linden Avenue,
Right,
L-A-N-D-E-N.
Thank you. Yeah, I would have gotten it all of
Do we still have Councilwoman Scarpa?
Yes,
Yes,
Council
I'm here.
President, we
Can you hear
do.
me?
She's on there.
Yeah.
And
Go anywhere.
we have a very robust Zoom audience, Council President. I don't think anyone would object. It's 7:28. You had mentioned 7:30, but I think that it would be safe to resume the meeting, that we're not missing anyone.
Before we do this, I'll do that. I just want to check with Councilwoman Scarpa. Were you able to hear any of public comment?
I heard all of it. I was
Oh.
on the whole time. You didn't hear me for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Well-
heard the entire public comment.
Okay, to celebrate that event, is it okay if I call on you for the first response to public comment?
Why don't you call on somebody else first?
I could go first. huh?
Okay.
Council President, would you just make an announcement that we are resuming the meeting?
Sounds good. Please let me know when we are ready to go, please.
We are live and good to go.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Fagan. Thank you, everybody's patience. We now have Councilwoman Scarpa online. It's a great night.
Yeah.
and
Hello,
the best-
everyone.
And the best news is that she was able to hear all of public comment, and so we'll be able to get her full response to that. Before we go any further, I just wanted to ask the two council members who are unable to join us in person to help try to keep the best order in our meeting. I will give each of the council members, the floor in the order that they raise their Zoom hand to Mr. Fagan, who will relay this information to me. Each will have the floor for their dialogue, including if they have multiple questions or multiple comments. When each is finished with their dialogue, I ask that each say, "I'm done," or something close to that. Then we'll know we can move on to the next council member in order, or to move forward with the meeting. Sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, fine.
When we last left the council meeting, we were about to respond to the public comment. And I wanted to ask Councilwoman Rudin if she will start us off, please.
Sure. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry that I'm not there in person. I'm speaking to you tonight, not just as a West Orange resident, but as a sitting council member who is deeply alarmed at the prospect of this body not fulfilling its most important responsibility, which is governing. I've been on the council only about 6 months, and I can tell you there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we need help. We should not just be a 4-person council. We need to be a 5-person council, and each of us can be doing the work of the people of this township. Although the problem has been resolved, the absence of Councilperson Scarpa due to her technical problems tonight make it even more imperative to fill the seat. We operate under the Faulkner Act, mayor, council, plan B, strong mayor form of government. In this structure, the mayor runs the administration and the council acts as the legislative body. But right now, there's a vacancy on the council, and I'm concerned about my council colleagues who may be refusing to fill this. This, to me, is a dereliction of duty. Under state law, we are legally obligated to act within 30 days to fill a vacancy. Failing to do so not only violates the intent of the law, it creates gridlock, and that's exactly what we're facing. A council that can't function fully, where major decisions hang in limbo and our residents go underrepresented. I heard some of my colleagues say that they don't want to give anybody a leg up by appointing them, but let's call this what it is: political hypocrisy. Councilwoman Michelle Casalino, you were handed this very seat in 2015 through an appointment. That's how you got your start. And now you're blocking others, or maybe blocking others from having the same opportunity. That's not leadership, that's double standards. And what about Councilwoman Tammy Williams, who nearly came in last in the last election, and she has a $60,000 war chest ready to go. She's already pulled petitions for November. Is that not a massive advantage? So we're okay with dealing with incumbents holding power and money, but someone who's worked hard for this community and might be known and respected can't be considered? This logic is broken, and worse, it's dishonest. We are not here to protect political futures. We are here to serve the public. This town deserves a full council, not personal agendas and procedural games. I say to my colleagues, let's do our job. Fill the vacancy, stop the excuses, and put the people first. I'm done.
Councilwoman Scarpa, are you ready to respond?
Yeah, I could respond.
Thank you.
Uh,
Please go ahead.
yeah, I just want to say that, you know, I'm a little disappointed with a lot of the politicking that's been going on right now. I've gotten a plethora of letters, phone calls from various people, you know, who would like to see different candidates. And, you know, no matter who we put in this seat, someone will be offended. And I believe for only a couple of months that we can go and do our business fully and let the voters decide who should sit in this seat. I ran for this seat many times. I had to explain to all of the residents why they needed someone in this seat who is not a politician, who has no biases, no relationships or campaign contributions from commercial real estate developers. And I want someone sitting next to me who has no biases and no interests other than to do what's best for the taxpayers of this town. And I believe in a couple of months, so many of these wonderful candidates who have sent us resumes will have the opportunity to go out there like I did, and all of us have, and talk to the voters and tell them why they think they should be sitting in that seat. So I don't believe we should fill it at this time. And I'm done.
Thank you. Councilwoman Castellino, please.
Thank you, Council President, and I truly want to thank all 16 applicants for putting in their resumes, and I was very impressed and very pleased that our community is that interested, and they should be, rightfully so, in this position. It's been the past couple tough years. And, I got my third quarter tax bill, just like the rest of you did. It was estimated, which put me over the edge because I've been trying to get that tax bill the past couple of years. I'm title closer for many years, and I know what it means to people to have a third quarter estimated tax bill. And we got to get our budget done earlier and in a quicker manner. With that being said, obviously I was the topic of many of your conversations this evening, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming down and, to talk to me. And I felt it important. I changed my plans this evening to make sure I was here to hear you in person, because I know it was important for you to say what you said to me, and I hear you loud and clear. And I know how difficult this job is. I've been doing not just this job, but I was blessed enough to serve for the school board for 10 years as well. And I appreciate that this community has always supported me for sitting in this seat to make the difficult decisions. And I know how I got here. And I appreciate the mayor who's sitting in the back of the room, who had supported me back in 2015, and Jerry Garino and the other council people at that time, Victor Cirillo. And I appreciate them on the council, and for all of those who had an interview. And I did mean that statement, because I know I had a good feeling I was going to be selected, and I really did feel bad and embarrassed that I had to go up there and interview for the position. Not that I minded, of course not. But I know what it meant to the other people who didn't get the position. I really do feel bad about that. That's why I wanted to make sure before I left on vacation. I know I was going away for 2 weeks. Timing could not have been any worse. So sorry, Councilwoman Bramichael, for that, but it's true. Everybody knew I was leaving. I was going to be out of the country, not even just town, the country for over 2 weeks. It was 4th of July week, and Councilwoman Rudin, I appreciate you coming on tonight from your vacation, because we do what we need to do to get the job done. And you all know where I'm going with this, because I am going to support keeping the seat vacated, because I feel that, Councilwoman, I know you wanted to lecture me on this, but you already know who you want to appoint. And I think it's, I think it's not fair to the applicants who put in to be interviewed, number one. Number two, I feel that we have been working really well together, and I'm really not worried about a 2-2 vote. I think some folks have been surprised the way I've been voting lately. And I've always been a straight shooter. Everyone knows that. That's why I did get this seat, because folks know, even though I may have a relationship with you, I'm going to vote the way I think it's best for the community. And I've always done that, and I'm going to continue to do so. And I think at this point in time, we only have till Friday to make a decision on. Yeah. And I think that's impossible for us to even come to a consensus on a person by Friday. So I think at this point in time, we have to get this budget done. That is a priority. I appreciate the Budget Advisory Committee. So we do have input from them, and they've been wonderful and sitting there and doing their due diligence. So this whole, all these statements about, the budget and we need that 5th person. We have that 5th person in the Budget Advisory Committee. And I think all of us have been appreciative of each other's comments and very thoughtful. I know our new CFO has been
doing an outstanding job, you know, taking over the budget this year and really explaining it, working through the process. Mr. Moraldo, you've been wonderful too, supplying the information and the rest of the administration. So yeah, I'm fully confident we're going to wrap this up. Our biggest problem we have as a group is finding a date that we could all meet. So I mean, with 4 people, that's hard enough. A 5th person, that makes it even harder. We have some other obligations with affordable housing and whatnot that we've all been privy to. So I would appreciate the 5th person, and if the vote doesn't go the way in my direction tonight, I'll have no problem voting for someone tomorrow. But right now, I think it's best, quick, being transparent. I think we should just keep the seat vacant, let the voters decide, and get the business done that we should have had done before July 1st. Thank you, Council President. And thank you so much, everybody, for coming down tonight. I vote to vacate.
Thank you,
Leave it
Councilwoman.
vacant, rather.
Right, we'll get to that motion.
I know.
Okay.
Just wanted everybody to know where I stood again. I haven't changed my mind, but I do appreciate everybody's comments tonight. And thank you.
Certainly, and I think tonight reflects what I've been saying all along in this process, is that there does not appear to be any consensus among the council members for virtually the entire time since Councilwoman Geber Michael's resignation. And I've had very limited discussion on individual candidates as a result, despite a very strong, impressive lineup. But our independence shouldn't be surprising to anyone, given the independence that individual council members have shown in the first 6 months of this council term. And it is unusual in the recent history of the council for there to be so much independence in what each individual thinks is the best thing for the township. Now, I heard all of your comments tonight, and if there's a central theme, there is a tremendous concern that the existing council will not be up for whatever comes at us over the next 4 months. And it's a legitimate concern. I am not disregarding that at all. But I think that concern has not been realized over the last month, where we have not had Councilwoman Geber Michael, and including previous time periods when Councilwoman Geber Michael was not available to attend the meetings. I didn't hear anybody over the last couple of months saying, oh, you guys are doing a terrible job. There's only 4 of you. So I agree that it is legitimate, but I will do absolutely everything in my power to realize my confidence that we 4 council members can do this job. And I also recognize the multiple comments talking about how the budget is really challenging us. I want everybody to be clear on this. We should have gotten the budget months before we did in mid-April. We've been working on that budget for 3 months, not even 3 months. And we have cut considerable hundreds of thousands of dollars out of that budget already that we are going to at some point vote on. So we have not been derelict in our ability to do our job. And I also understand the concern has come from the fact we just implemented the revaluation, and there are lots and lots of people in our town property owners, whose assessments not only went up tremendously after 10 years of not being revalued, but they also increased their property taxes. And there's a lot of people there who have this concern about how their taxes have gone up. And so I understand that concern, and I understand everybody in town wants to have the darn best effective council members that they can possibly have in this time of challenge. And I think we are up for the challenge. But I do want to say, I realize this is a response to public comment, but I really think I need to respond to Councilwoman Rudin. First of all, I would like to ask her to stop this increasingly insulting language to her colleagues, as she has demonstrated tonight and has at previous council meetings. I understand that she is an independent person and she has her own ideas, but that does not in any way help us to reach consensus or negotiation on any issue, including this. I was surprised for you to hear you use the word hypocrisy, because you have had a candidate in mind since a few minutes after Councilwoman Geber Meckel resigned. And you have been incredibly dismissive when I've tried to reach out to you and discuss potential other people to consider in this process. You have dismissed them out of hand. And for you to call that to be hypocrisy when you're asking everybody to avoid dereliction of duty and avoid double standards, I find that insulting, and I don't find it in any way contributing to the work that we have to do for the people of West Orange. So I ask that you don't do that anymore, or at least consider it. I understand the arguments to keep the vacancy or fill it, as well as the council member's firm candidate choice. I'm keenly aware that it will take 3 votes to appoint somebody, a margin that I have not seen in any of my discussions with my colleagues. And I'm opposed to the mayor's role in breaking a possible 2-2 tie. In my view, as you have all pointed out, it's a council-only decision. And I appreciate that the mayor's willingness to get involved here, but I don't think it's something that she should be doing. So I'm working to avoid that as well. As I mentioned earlier, I don't want to give anyone a possible, very political decision that would bring advantage to someone who might run in November. So I've been leaning away from appointing anyone who would potentially benefit from the appointment in the November election. And a few of the candidates I've engaged with have taken that caretaker approach, which I appreciate, because again, it's done in the best interest of the township. Keeping the vacancy leaves the decision on who to fill it up with to the voters, which I prefer. The vacancy lasts 4 more months, not even 4 more months. It certainly makes council decisions a bit more challenging, but we still have the potential for 4 votes for bonding ordinances or a veto override. We also continue to have the potential 3 votes for most ordinances and resolutions. And you may not realize it, but we have had a bunch of tie votes where the motion has failed, particularly floor votes four motions that we make during a council meeting. So it has not destroyed the effectiveness of the council, and I will do everything that I can to avoid that. But it is not a given. It certainly increases the chances of it happening, but it's not a given. And unfortunately, we do not seem to have a consensus on what to do to either keep it vacant, fill the vacancy, and then who to fill the vacancy with. So we're going to have discussions after this following the response to public comment, and we'll see what people want to say. But I appreciate everything that was said tonight. I recognize that the concern is valid, and I commit to doing everything I possibly can to avoid our council being any less effective than it potentially and possibly can. So thank you, everybody, for your comments. So at this point, we have Councilwoman Rudin. Why don't we just wait till we finish? I beg your pardon? Let's wait until we close this, until we have a motion to decide this issue, and then to have further discussion at that point. Sorry. Does that make sense? Okay.
How would you like the motion to read?
I move that we have a vote on moving forward with filling the council vacancy.
With filling.
Filling.
Okay.
That way, we're voting on filling the vacancy, which is we can either decide to leave it vacant tonight or fill the vacancy. If we vote to fill the vacancy, then we will have tomorrow's special council meeting that starts, I think, at 4 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. And that way, if we do have the 3 votes to fill the vacancy, we will move forward tomorrow. If we can't fill the vacancy, then the motion will fail and we will have our answer.
Okay.
So I make the motion that we move forward with filling the vacancy. Do I hear a second? Is there anybody, either the council members who are on the Zoom?
Second.
Good, okay. So we have a second from Councilwoman Rudin.
And now discussion.
And now discussion. Councilwoman Rudin, you have the floor.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say, just in response to what you said, Council President, in regard to me, being Council President doesn't give you any more say than for any other members of the council. And I would have appreciated being able to respond after you spoke instead of making a motion and then having this go forward. I have reached out to you over and over and over by text, by phone call, and you did not see fit to return my calls, my texts. And as recently as today, I reached out to you, had a very brief conversation, asked you to call me back, and you apparently did not have time to call me back. So this is not true. I have tried to have a dialogue with you. I've reached out to Councilwoman Castellino, also did not hear back. I've reached out repeatedly to Councilwoman Scarpa, and whether or not I have been in favor of one particular candidate, I have always been open to discussing any other candidate that would come forward. So tonight, I would again like to impress on everybody that we need to do our job. We need to fill the vacancy. We need to stop making excuses, and we need to put the people of West Orange first. So I am again urging everybody to vote to fill the seat. This is a lot of work to represent people and issues and problems in this town. And right, we don't always agree, and there could be gridlock. We have a budget, we need help. I welcome discussion on another candidate. If you would like to suggest a candidate, if Councilperson Castellino would like to offer another candidate, offer it. I'm here, I will listen. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak?
No, I'm ready to call the vote.
Councilwoman
Council
Scarpa?
President,
Uh,
I'm sorry, pardon the interruption. Because Councilwoman Scarpa is on phone, she may not have the ability to raise her hand. So I would just inquire.
That's okay. I'm ready to call for the vote. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Hello?
hear you.
Yeah, I'm ready to call for the vote.
Okay, I would just like to say one more thing. Councilwoman Rudin, I disagree with a lot of what you presented as fact tonight, and I urge you to check your phone and see that I called you within a couple of minutes of the last time you called me, and you did not call back. So I don't even want to touch it anymore. But again, I urge you to return to more civil discourse and to work more closely and collegially with the other council members to get the work of the council done. I've had 2 calls for a vote. So I think it's time to, unless Councilwoman Rudin, you want to respond again, it's time to move to the vote. Madam Clerk.
Okay, so the motion reads, motion to move forward with filling the vacancy. So if you want to fill the vacancy, you vote yes. If you do not want to fill the vacancy, you vote no. Councilwoman Castellino,
No.
Councilwoman Rudin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scarpa,
No.
Council President Kukoviac.
Given the math, then I vote to vote no.
Okay, 3-1, the motion fails. The seat will remain vacated.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anything else anybody would like to say before we?
Just again, thank you to all the applicants. Yeah. Yeah, the meetings.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the applicants as well and urge them to run. There were some fabulous applicants.
Yes, a lot of great applicants.
Thank you. At this point, I will entertain a motion.
Oh, wait, can we pick a budget date? And then we're not allowed to do that here?
We cannot. Mr. Burke made a special visit tonight to enforce his legal opinion that we should not have any other items discussed at tonight's meeting.
Just so that we don't have anything in.
I
yellow
just,
for
I-
any reason, just-
Okay, got it.
Right, right.
Okay, that's not a problem.
We will have to do that offline. As
Right.
quickly as we can.
Thank
This,
you.
just so you know what we're talking about, we have had 7 budget workshops going over the budget with a great deal of help from the Citizens Budget Advisory Board. We need to have at least one more meeting, perhaps 2 more meetings before we can introduce the budget, which we totally intend to do at the July 22nd council meeting. We have to get that done.
Yes.
But we can't do it tonight. We have a legal opinion that we can't, and so we'll have to do that another way. That's what we're all talking about. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight, and thank you for your great public comment as usual. I'm entertaining a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
second.
Any
Aye.
opposed? The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night, West Orange.
Okay.